What is good, you guys? So, today's video, we're doing something a little bit different. I am doing a collab show with NLW, and we are basically doing a Ruthless Aggression redraft fantasy booking. So, what this entails is we'll kind of do different shows throughout, but we're going to start with the draft. We each get 20 picks, and basically we can only use Jakks figures from Ruthless Aggression era. So we're really trying to keep it as strict as possible, and with my first pick, kicking off this draft, I'm going with a man that is, quite frankly, was a franchise during this run. And he beat JBL at WrestleMania 21. No other than John Cena.
Yo, what's up guys, it's NLW here with my first 10 picks. I kind of anticipated you were going to pick John Cena, so with that in mind, I'm going to pick the Animal Batista for my first pick. In many ways, he was the counterpart to John Cena, the opposite in terms of popularity over on Smackdown while Cena was on Raw, and they were the heads of each show, so I feel like if you got Batista as well, you might trounce me in this draft, so that's why I'm picking Batista first.
So, NLW, he went with Batista for his second pick. And you know what? I'm going to try to maybe throw off some of his plans, but also a man that I think will really compete against John Cena for the, I guess it's going to be WWE Championship. We didn't really talk about what brand this will fall under, but the main championship of this Smackdown show. I'm going after no other but the game, Triple H.
Next up, we got the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. For obvious reasons, I feel like he's a good high-flying wrestler, and he can slot anywhere in the card. Could put him in a tag team, could put him in the mid-card to help elevate some guys, and obviously, here's the showstopper, the main event. That is why he's my second pick.
Alright, so Triple H was my second pick, and now, with pick number 3, another man that I fully intend to compete for this top title. This man was also a world champion at one point. He actually, went to WrestleMania 22 as champion? But no other than Kurt Angle.
So we got some good star power thus far. However, I just want to add to that and add my next pick, which is Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero. I've always wanted to put this guy in NLW, and I'm still trying to find a way in. But with a Ruthless Aggression draft, I thought now was the perfect opportunity to pick him. Eddie, he oozes charisma, and I think that would be a good asset to my show.
So we're off to a good start here. So my pick number 4 is going to be a guy that will probably be a mid-card title guy. I'm drafting him a little bit earlier than I probably should be, but if you are a fan of Spam, you know I can't resist. But my 4th pick is no one other than the GOAT, Shelton Benjamin.
Next pick is the Rated R Superstar Edge. Now, the reason for this is because he was the champion when I started watching wrestling back in 06, and I feel like he is such a good heel. But then again, if I wanted to transition him into a face, I could do, so that's why he's my next pick.
So Edge was a great pick by NLW there. That threw off my plans because he was my next intended pick, so I am impressed with that. So my next pick was change it up a little bit, but this is a big man, and quite frankly, I think he's going to make a big impact on this show. No one other than The Big Show. Who doesn't want to stand?
Next up, we got the Legend Killer, Randy Orton. Look at him. Look how young he is here. In the Ruthless Aggression era, he was on the way up, had some good IC title matches, moved on to the main event scene. His feud with The Undertaker was fantastic, and of course, Rated RKO. Perhaps putting him with Edge can add a little bit of depth to my tag division, so we'll see what I do with Orton in the future.
So next up, we got the framing of this going so far. We got the top contenders, we have a mid-card guy. Next up, I want one more guy that I think this will be an interesting pick because I can either flex him as a world title contender, mid-card guy potentially, or I can even tag him with the Big Show, and this was quite a good run. So my next pick will be no other than Kane.
Number 6, we got Y2j Chris Jericho. Like a couple other of my picks, I want to go for a more athletic style of roster, as well as charismatic. That's why you got the likes of Orton, Eddie, and now Chris Jericho. Feel like he's a good heel, good face, can really slot him anywhere, and that flexibility is what I'm looking for.
So next up, I have another guy that, I think he could be a world champion. More likely probably float around the mid-card title with this show. But he will be, no matter what, he will be the whole effing show. No other than RVD, Rob Van Dam.
Next up, we got Jeff Hardy. Now, I probably would have picked RVD if you didn't pick him first, but it is what it is. I thought I'll nip it in the bud right now, get Jeff Hardy. Perhaps I'll put him in a tag team with Matt Hardy. I don't know if I'll use that pick just yet, but we shall see. Although he was only really there at the start and the end of the Ruthless Aggression era, was a great Intercontinental Champion, and then eventually did go on to win the title at the end of the Ruthless Aggression era, sort of. So, Jeff Hardy, my favourite wrestler as a kid, and my next pick.
So next up, I'm still trying to kind of plan out how I want to go with this. I need to get some more tag teams. I'm eventually going to need some cruiserweights, but I'm going to kind of wait it out and see how it plays out with the draft. I'm going to grab one more guy that I truly think is a world champion potential. He wasn't necessarily given the credit due, but we'll see where he goes in this show. And he is Captain Charisma, Christian.
I'm going to stick with a high-flying theme and go with Rey Mysterio. Now, he wasn't really associated with Raw in the Ruthless Aggression era, so I kind of want to change that. I feel that Rey would be a good asset to Raw, can have some good matches with the likes of Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels, and a couple of dream matches I could put on, as well as those.
So with this 9th pick, I'm going to take one that's a little controversial. We'll see how this is well received. I need a true villain. I mean, obviously Triple H, Kane potentially, but this one's going to be a villain for sure. And with this pick, number 9, Muhammad Hassan.
For pick number 9, I've got quite a lot of high-flying wrestlers, but not a lot of beef to my roster. So with that in mind, my next pick's going to be the Samoan Bulldozer, Umaga, with manager Armando Estrada. I think that Umaga can be a very dominant force on my brand. That's why I'm picking Umaga.
So, pick 10. This is the last pick of the first round and of this video. So I kind of want to make sure I have it all well-rounded before we hit this next second round. I'm kind of flip-flopping between a few guys, but I think this is an important one, and this was an important guy during the Ruthless Aggression era. I would argue that he is probably the best champion during that era after Triple H. I'm going to take no one else but Longhorn, JBL.
And now my final pick for round 1 is a member of a great tag team in the Ruthless Aggression era, also a great mid-card champion. I'm talking about Johnny Nitro, aka John Morrison, former ECW and Intercontinental Champion. I feel like he's a good high-flying wrestler as well. I kind of want a bit of athleticism on my side of things. So, you know, I've got the Batistas at the main event level, the likes of Umaga as well. I feel like Morrison, or Nitro as he's called, can help me achieve that.
Alright guys, so here's the end of the first round. Pretty good showing on my end. I'm pretty happy. I haven't touched on the tag team division too much, and the cruiserweights still have to get some ads in there, so the second round will probably be a little cruiserweight and tag heavy. But we got Muhammad Hassan, Shelton, Triple H, Kane, Kurt Angle, John Cena, The Big Show, RVD, Christian, JBL. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think I did a better draft than NLW? What would you like to see rivalry-wise, and who would you like to see in the second round?